How would you like to make dinner without having to cook it? Today we're going to do something called mezze, which is an assembly of small dishes, very prominent and popular in Middle Eastern countries and in Mediterranean as well. And it's just a combination of a bunch of small dishes, either served as an appetizer or the way I prefer to serve it as a light meal. So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna put it all together. It is just an incredibly mixture of like vibrant flavors and colors, and I think you're gonna love it. I'm Judy Matusky. I'm a registered dietitian and as culinary nutritionist as well with Athens Nutrition. It's great to be back. I took 2 weeks off for the holiday. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday, and I hope you're all doing well and healthy. I know this is a little bit of a tough time right now. So thanks for joining. We are going to get started, but before we get to the assembly of the mezze and putting everything on a platter so I can show you what the ingredients are and what we're using, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to make yogurt cheese, because this is going to be part of this mezze. So yogurt cheese, or known as labneh or labneh in Middle Eastern cuisines, it's basically strained yogurt. So Greek yogurt is strained, regular yogurt. But yogurt cheese takes it a little bit further. So you're straining this yogurt for maybe 24 to 48 hours because we're trying to get a consistency that is similar to like cream cheese. And then it can be used really as a cream cheese substitute in a lot of different recipes, and particularly in different dips. So I wanted to just show you, because it's so easy to make this at home. So what I'm going to do is basically I have a colander. I have it lined with just a plain paper towel. If you want to use cheesecloth, you can. If you wanted to use just a clean linen towel, you could do that. I just find it's just easier just to use a paper towel. And then you're just going to take your strainer, your colander, and just set it over another bowl, so that you're going to be collecting the whey that's going to strain off of the yogurt. All right, and then you're going to take this 32-ounce container of plain yogurt. I am using a non-fat yogurt, and the reason for that is that I'm trying to eliminate the saturated fat that would be in this cheese, yogurt cheese, and I'm going to bring back in a healthier fat in the form of olive oil. So if you want to use full-fat yogurt, which is probably more traditional, you can. That's okay. I am just trying to keep the saturated fat level low. All right, so we're just going to take the yogurt, and you're just going to dump it right on top of the paper towel into the colander, into the strainer. And then what you'll do is this is going to go into the refrigerator, and you will let it go for about, like I said, about 24 to 48 hours, depending on the, so if you can see that. So it's just, sitting in here. It's I'll cover it with a little bit of, saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator. And then in 24 to 48 hours, I'll be checking it. So it depends on how thick you want it to become. So that is how you make yogurt cheese, or labneh. So let me show you, because I went ahead and I did this, I made this one 2 days ago. So this has been, well, I strained it for a little longer than 24 hours, and then I took it back out and put it back into the yogurt container. But I wanted to show you the difference. Look at how, there's the yogurt that I just put in the strainer, and here's the yogurt that has strained for a little over 24 hours. It really reduces significantly in volume because you're straining out the liquid, which is the whey. And so this is how much whey came off of the yogurt when I strained it. And this whey, don't throw it away, because this is yogurt water, basically. And you can use this to make your oatmeal. You can use it to make smoothies. I haven't done this, but I'm told you can marinate vegetables like, carrots or cauliflower or other vegetables in this, and then roast them, and it's supposed to give it a really nice flavor. So don't throw it away, because you can use this. All right, so that's just the whey. That's the water that drains off. That's what happens when Greek yogurt is made. You're straining off some of that whey. So now we have this thicker, almost like a whipped sort of cream cheese texture, and this is what we'll use to make a little bit of make a dip from. And it's really very simple. So I'm just gonna dump it right out of that paper towel that it was straining on. And you can see how nice and thick this gets. It's almost spreadable. It really does resemble the consistency of cream cheese. So for this, you can really traditionally, you might sprinkle this with some za'atar, which is a blend of different spices, sesame seeds and other spices. I just don't have any right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take this and I'm going to sprinkle it with just a teeny bit of salt and take some olive oil, and we'll just drizzle some olive oil. This is where we're putting the plant fat back in, all right? And then I'm gonna, since I have some chopped vegetables and some herbs for the platter that we're gonna put together, I'll just sprinkle that with a little bit of dill and just a little bit of parsley. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. So this is a nice and creamy addition. This is gonna be the dip that we're gonna add to our mezze, all right? So here's our first addition as far as a small kind of plate that we're gonna add. So if you want to get a platter, because we're gonna assemble all of this on a platter. And then this is something that you can share, maybe not right now with COVID, but if at home with your family, you could share this with family and friends, but this is like if you want to make a really nice big one. This is very different than a charcuterie platter. So this is not going to be, comprised of a lot of meat and cheese. It's going to be a mixture of a lot of different types of foods that can be used, again, like as small bites or very light, very healthy though, light dinner. All right, so we did our yogurt cheese, and then I went ahead and I just put together some vegetables. Can be certainly vegetables of your choice. I think when you're putting it together, you're kind of thinking about different colors and different flavors and different textures, things that would work really well. Traditionally on mezze, you're gonna have probably some type of hummus or maybe more than one hummus. You're gonna have probably some type of labneh. You'll have vegetables, maybe some marinated vegetables. You'll have some pita bread and maybe a little bit of cheese. You don't have to stay with tradition necessarily. You can certainly branch out and kind of assemble this with flavors and certainly ingredients that you prefer. But that tends to be what's more traditional. So I'll show you what I'm going to put together. Some of this is just based because this is what I had in my pantry or in my fridge. And that's the beauty of this, because you can put this all together, and we'll talk a little bit about from the nutritional perspective what you kind of really want to make sure shows up. All right, so because I had some beautiful little peppers, I'm going to just throw some of those on the plate, and they're just, again, for the color and the texture and the crunch, just a nice addition. I had a bunch of cucumbers. These are not marinated. Typically, I do have marinated cucumbers in my refrigerator that I make. I just don't have any right now. Coming off the holiday, I just didn't have a chance to make those. So these are just fresh sliced cucumbers. So I'm just making sure you can see that. All right. Let me get that out of the way. That's that. Now, I did not have hummus, and I don't typically have it. I like it, but for some reason, I just don't tend to have it around a lot, but I always have beans. So I had these beautiful giant beans in my pantry that are just in a very light marinade. So I'm going to use just whole beans on my mezze instead of using hummus. And beans, we'll talk a little bit about why we really want beans on here, but they really are an important part of this platter. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use these full beans rather than the hummus. I do have the yogurt cheese of the labneh as sort of the dip that we're gonna add. All right, so we have that. So now we have we have some beautiful vegetables for crunch and texture and flavor, and we also have the beans for a great source of protein and high fiber. So not only is this beautiful and delicious, but it's so incredibly healthy. So that's what I love about this. Now, I did buy some roasted eggplant for the holidays. So this was just in the jar. You could roast off vegetables, eggplant, zucchini, if you'd like. I already had these, so instead of doing that, I'm just gonna use the ones that I have on hand. And that's what's again really nice about putting this mezze together, is that you don't have to make everything that's gonna go on here. I mean, whatever you have in your pantry is what you're gonna use to pull it together. All right, so we're gonna put a few of the eggplant slices on here as well. And then I have a couple of lemon wedges. Let's add that, because that's really nice, I think, to just, maybe sprinkle a little bit of lemon on things. Now what I'm going to add as well here is I am going to use some tinned fish. I love this smoked trout. I think I've talked about this before from Trader Joe's. Love, love, love it. I always have at least 6 tins in my pantry because I will just open a tin, squeeze some lemon on it, put some dill on it, and I'll just eat it right out of the tin. It's just so good. And it's not real fishy. That's what's great about it. So you don't have to be afraid of it. It's not like, you know, if you're not sure about sardines, it's not like that at all. It's a little lighter. So smoked trout, I get it. I find it at Trader Joe's. You might be able to find it other places. I am going to go ahead and put some of that on here because I think that just adds a nice, healthy, you know, lean protein source in addition to the beans, as well as some healthy omega-3 fatty acids, which is, again, something really nice. You know, eating doesn't have to be about nutrition and nutrients. I think it should be, most importantly, pleasurable and absolutely delicious. That's first and foremost in anything that we're putting together. But it's really nice when you can pull something together like this, and it's also really well balanced from a nutritional perspective as well. All right, so we have that, and I have some chopped dill, so I'm going to add that and a little bit of parsley to go right on top of the smoked fish. I would probably do 2 tins of smoked trout on here. I just have the one open. I'm not going to open the other one for now. And then just a little bit of lemon. I do a little squeeze of lemon on top of that. All right. Now you can see that this is really coming together, and it's gorgeous. And it would just be you would assemble the amounts that you need. My husband and I, we probably have this at least once a week or once every 2 weeks because we love to eat like this. This is a great Friday night meal because at the end of the week I usually have some vegetables left over. I might even have roasted vegetables that are left over. I always have all of the stuff's in my pantry. All right, so now you know you can and cannot, you don't have to add cheese. Cheese is pretty traditional, but I think sometimes when we put platters together we tend to think meat and cheese. That has to be predominant on a platter, and in this way it really isn't. It's playing a background role. So I do have a lot of feta cheese, again, sort of left over from the holidays. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of chunks of feta on here to go with this. So I'll assemble this here to the side. And again, you don't really need a lot because feta has a strong flavor, and that's what's really nice about feta or other cheeses. When you pick the cheeses that are really good, really nice cheeses that have an intense flavor, you don't need that much, and a little bit can go a long way. All right, and then the most important thing to me, and I think again in any mezze, is to add some bread. So I have some whole wheat pita wedges that I'm going to add. I know I've mentioned the Euro Market, so those of you that live in the area over on, I guess, 252 and Route 3, there's the Euro Market that I love. 320, I'm sorry, I think it's 320 and Route 3. I picked up these gorgeous little whole grain flatbreads that I cut into little squares. You know, I would toast these before I would put them on the platter. But basically, one other element. Usually, again, some sort of a marinated vegetable. It would be great. I have olives, so I'm going to just find some room on here. These are just Kalamata olives that are pitted. So I might put a few olives. If you have some green olives or other olives, that's great. So that would just add a little, again, a little saltiness, something a little briny, or something even pickled would be wonderful. All right. So here is this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous platter, mezze, that basically is assembly of most things that I had in my pantry or left over in the refrigerator. But when you put them together, they look absolutely beautiful because of the colors, and then these, absolutely intense flavors are gonna just go so well together. And we have nutritionally, we have our lean proteins from our beans and from our fish. We have healthy fats from our olives and from the omega-3 fatty acids in the fish. We have, a nice high fiber carbohydrates from the vegetables and the whole grains. So you can't beat it from a nutrient balance as well. So I love that. The labneh we would put out. This you could spread on your pita toast. You kind of just assemble these things all together because all of these flavors would work beautifully together. And if you want to, I usually do because I always have dried apricots, and usually I have dates on hand or figs. They would be nice to just put out as well. You can add them to the platter if there's room, or just even on the side, because this would be a nice way to finish with something a little bit sweet. just to end the meal. And it really does feel complete that way. So you don't really feel like you need to necessarily be looking for dessert afterwards, particularly if you have something sweet that's part of it. You could use some fresh fruit, some grapes as well if you wanted to. But anyway, so please give this a try. Think about doing this as an option, especially when you have busy weeks and you're just not sure what to put together. Pull all of these things together. It makes a great thing to serve to family and friends, but it's certainly something that you could do even if it's just the two of you. Thank you for joining. One quick thing, we have a few seats remaining in our upcoming culinary nutrition workshop. It starts January the 18th, but only a few. We're keeping it as a small group, and it's going to be a 4-week virtual workshop. It's going to be fantastic for women. It's geared towards women kind of 50 and up. We're going to talk about how to reassemble a kitchen, and I almost like to think of it as a longevity kitchen. You know, we're thinking about living long, healthy lives, what we need to have in our kitchens, how do we put meals like this together pretty easily. Lots of recipes throughout the 4-week program. We meet once a week. It's a lot of fun. If you have friends or family that want to join together, you can kind of be in your own kitchen. You can cook with me, or you can just watch, which sometimes I think just watching is a little more fun. You can just relax. And we're going to cover a lot of different things over the 4 weeks. So if you are interested, there's an early bird special that goes, I think, through Saturday. If you want to join, it's athensnutrition.com. Just go to our website. I will put up the information when I post this video on Facebook. So you will have that if you'd like to join us. But again, there's only a few seats remaining. So if you're interested, I would kind of just try to jump on pretty quickly. All right. Thanks so much for joining. Stay well, stay healthy, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.